Satnam aloha, everyone. And let's see if this is coming up now. We got some technical issues with that Mercury retrograde. Okay. Okay, it looks like it's public now. That's great. Okay, so I'm hoping people will just jump in and we'll start right away here. And I have my chart right here. So this is the full moon chart right there for August 30th, 2023. And so you'll notice that this channel of mutation is no longer activated as of today. And I talked about that in my last video. So the 3 and the 60 are no longer activated. Pluto's still in the 60, but the 3 isn't. The 3 used to be in the North Node. So now we have a nodal axis change, and this is a relief. I felt it right away as soon as I got up this morning. So the South Node is in the 32, and now the North Node is in the 42. So this is a whole story, new storyline for us. Okay. So before I jump into the full moon, I just wanted to talk about the cross of the sleeping phoenix. We know that this is the new 400-year cycle that's coming up, and right in 2027 to 2438. So all of the events, all the craziness and the chaos that we're seeing out in the world is preparing us for this new cycle. We're already in the energy, actually. Right. So this is the inner technology revolution that I talked about, that it's not the outer technology, the AI and robots and microchips and all that stuff that's being thrown around right now. It's about the inner technology revolution. And this is also said about the Aquarian age, that when we reach the pinnacle of what we can do with technology as a humanity, this is when the self-sensory system, that's what Kundalini yoga meditation call it, but this is really the inner technology that starts to come online. And then we realize, oh, the technology is really coming from us. All of these other things are just a reflection of the gifts that we have already, right? Like television, we can remote view, we can telepathically connect with people instead of the telephone, right? We can do all that on our own. So it's really an empowering, right? A self-empowering epoch that we're entering into. Okay, so the keys here, remember the important keys, these are the themes. So if you have this natally, then you're a big part of this new cross of the sleeping phoenix, this global cycle. And this means our motivation will change as a humanity. So it's about following your authentic, look at that word, that's your currency right now, following your authentic convictions with honesty to liberate the spirit, your spirit. So it's all about self-empowerment now. So I just wanted to show you some sleeping phoenix news that I pulled up here. And so you know that I live on Maui, like this is really a lightning rod. And I would say, I'm biased because I live here. But even if I didn't live here, I would be like, yeah, this is where all this sleeping phoenix consciousness is really starting to awaken. So according to a report by AP, the only road out of Lahaina, that was the little city that was burned down, it's really a town, was barricaded, and only those who disobeyed survived. So if you've been following this story, that the road out when the fire was going, when it was starting, was blocked on both sides by the police, right? So there were people driving up and wanting to leave the fire, obviously, and the police are like, no, you have to stay here. And they asked why, and the police officer said, I don't know, I'm just following orders. Just following orders. So the people that trusted their instincts and their intuition didn't obey that. They went through the blockade, and those are the ones that survived. So this would be an example of looking at it neutrally, right? Of the crossing of the sleeping phoenix, right? Coming up. And it's about disobeying, let's not even say disobey. Let's say obey your own instincts and your own intuition, right? So the sleeping phoenix, right? The cross of planning, which has been in place since the early 1600s, was about these institutions that were they were a bedrock to the growth of our civilization, and they served us, right? Nothing's a mistake. But now they've run their course, and now it's time for us to expand, right, as a humanity and evolve. So we're seeing the breakdown of these institutions, and we're really seeing it with this event, right? Because these institutions, the global motivation has changed. It's no longer to support the masses anymore, right? So we can see the rise of the GoFundMes. We can see that. And then the rise of a small local community support, like grassroots movements really coming up, because people are following their hearts. They're doing what's right, even though they're being told something completely to the opposite, right? So obeying their own instincts and their own intuition. It's very self-empowering. That's a big word for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So we can see this blossoming of this new consciousness around the world, but especially here, right? And then the other one was, I just pulled this off Twitter, where it's called X now. So this Burger King, right, gave this man, Kevin Ford, a coffee cup, a movie ticket, and some candy for never taking a sick day in 20 years of work as a cook and cashier for the fast food restaurant. But people on the internet felt he deserved more, and they raised $400,000 for him. So this is an example of the cross of planning collapsing. But look what's coming in. It's the power of the people, the power of the collective. So the old bargain, because really what we're letting go of now is tribal consciousness. And this is a big theme for this full moon. And what's the old bargain, right? Tribe is like, you do this for us, right? And then we do this for you. So you exchange your time, your life force, and presence in exchange for money. Right? That's our modern day exchange. We take care of your needs, your food, your shelter, your clothing. We take care of you when you're sick, right? We provide employment insurance, social security, all these support networks that are collapsing right now, right? So we can see this, right? And then we show you how much we appreciate you. So so if we go back to this, because we always want to look at the channels that are defined, right? So this is defining the willpower center, and then the solar plexus, this 3720. This is completely breaking down for the awakening, the cross of the awakening of the sleeping phoenix. This is coming down, right? So this is like the root of tribal consciousness. So remember, there's three types of consciousness. There's tribal, there's collective, and then there's individual. Tribal's going away. We're just going to have individual and collective consciousness now. So this is a tribal channel. These are tribal gates, 40 and 37. So this is the transit. It's just like astrology, right? This is the transit that's coming over the globe for the full moon. And so it's here to illuminate something for us, and it's here for completion, right? That's what the full moon's about. So the 40 is about the love of work, right? It's the love of work. And then the 37 is the I appreciate you, right? So it's the gate of deliverance. This is the gate of deliverance. And this is the gate of family or friendship, community, right? This 40 and 37. So here we have the 40. We'll go back to the Burger King guy. We have the 40. I'm exchanging my time, energy, life force. And then the 37, well, we appreciate you. And the modern version is the money, right? And then the money buys the food and shelter and clothing and all that stuff. This is breaking down. Oh, we're going to throw a coffee cup at you, and go to a movie, and here's some candy for 20 years of not taking a sick day, right? So you can see the 37 is all about social inequality. So 37, it's like this is going to be social uprisings because things are so out of balance, right? So this is about our relationship to work. It's about our relationship to our community. It's about our relationship even to our spouse or partner, people that we rely on, right? In that sense of the word. So that these are so more social uprisings are coming, and this has been prophesized too, right? Because we have to come into more equality as a humanity. Everything is not in balance right now, and that's the shadow of weakness is 37, right? That it's not equal, and it makes it weak, our society weak, right? So no more looking to the sinking ship, these institutions. So this is what we have to, this new way of being that we talked about for the Aquarian age is letting go of the tribal consciousness. There's not going to be support anymore. And it's not like, some people want to hold on to those old ways. We want to hold on to the tribal ways. We want things to go back that they were 100 years ago, 200 years ago. And it's like, no, we're evolving. We're constantly growing and evolving, right? So we're moving past this because there was a price we had to pay, right? For this bargain. So you can see here, we'll keep going with this channel. I love this meme. I actually altered it. It's the bread and key meme, right? So this is the bargain right here. So we want liberation as spiritual beings having human experiences. We want liberation. We want to move out of this archetype of the slave. And the generators and manifesting generators, you're on the front line for transmuting the archetype of the slave because you have all the life force energy, right? You've got the divine sacral, the other types don't. So this is what we've been taught, conditioned to do, right? This is going to liberate us, right? And so this is the money bargain, the modern version of the tribal. This is tribal consciousness right here. This is what I have to chase to be free, right? And so this is the not self, they call in human design, or the ego. This is how the ego, not self, chases freedom, right? What are you going to do? You're still locked up with that money. And you talk to wealthy people or study wealthy people, they are too, they're in a gilded cage. They too are imprisoned, right? By their own mind, but in the same with poor people. It's the same thing, right? Just different cages. One has golden bars and the other one doesn't. Okay, so we want to let go of this. This is the old way, the cross of planning. And so you're going after your divinity during the cross of the sleeping phoenix. That's what this authenticity is about. Authenticity and divinity, they're the same thing. You can't be authentic and true without being in the self, the higher self, and that's your divinity, right? Your authenticity. So that's the money bargain. And then there's the relationship bargain. And this also plays out with this channel of community, right? Back up here, this channel of community, the 3740 is chasing a relationship. And so tribal consciousness, if you look at it, it's really about, it served us, right? It's in our evolution, but it needs to go away now because we've reached our limit with tribal consciousness. It kept us alive, like at a basics thing. And why we partnered up, it wasn't because of love and, passion and all that at the beginning. That was laid on top of it, more conditioning. It was like, it's easier, right? It's easier for me to survive with another person beside me. And you know that if you're in a relationship or if you're not in a relationship, it's easier. Like just physically, it's easier, right? You share resources. So you share labor, right? Division of labor and that. It's a lot more difficult on the physical realm to be single because you have to do all that yourself. So there was a purpose to this relationship, and that's the bargain, right? And people that are love addicts and they love the rom-coms, they don't want to look at this in truth. But we have to look at this truth. It's like, well, this is why we started to form relationships with one another and procreate the species. But it comes at a price, just like this comes at a price with the money. Relationship is because we had to sacrifice a part of our authentic self to be in relationship. We had to sacrifice a part of our authentic self so that we could be in that bargain with the tribe, right? Individuality was not uniqueness. I would like to say uniqueness was not celebrated in tribal consciousness, right? So, yeah. So this is being transmuted right now. So bringing it back to you, okay, well, what does that have to do with me? Well, it's about this full moon is about looking at those relationships, right, that are in your life, because the 4037 is all about resources. It's all about resources. And so the 40 and the 37 are always looking to who can provide my needs, who can provide my needs for me. This is all going like at its subconscious level. And so some can deliver, because 40 is about delivering, and some can't. And I'm not feeling emotionally fulfilled. That's the solar plexus in this relationship, in this work relationship too. I'm not feeling fulfilled. It's not equal. So if the bargain's not equal, then this is going to break. And this is what's happening in the world. It's especially because Saturn, I have to mention too, right? This is the tarot card here. 8 of Cups, the 8 of Cups, 37.2, it's line 2. So this is the tarot that goes with the second decan, right? It's the 8 of Cups, and this is about walking away, right? There's the 7 of Cups, completely like empty, and he's going after, or she's going after her cup, right? So leaving that emotionally unfulfilling relationship situation. So it's a letting go, right? For this full moon, it's letting go. So the line here, because each one, because you got the 37, that's the up here, right? Like we'll go back to here, right? It's the 37 and the 40, the gate of deliverance, and then the gate of family, the gate of friendship, gate of community, right? Some call it the gate of marriage too. So this is responsibility, or I would say it's duty and obligation. So there's a duty and obligation that comes with this bargain, right? So it's going to be in your relationships, especially work related, because it's got that 40 in there too, right? So do you go against your instincts and your feelings? Do you go against your instincts and your feelings? Now, I notice there's a narrative out there in the collective about people are so run by their feelings, right? They're irrational. So it's about language, right? So what they're talking about are people that are reactionary. They're reacting, right? They're in their emotions, right? Their emotions have taken over. And what they are really truly in is child. They've been traumatized. Remember, we're doing all this emotional purification work for the Aquarian age in the cross of the sleeping phoenix, right? But until you do that inner work, you are going to be reactionary because it's got to be purified, right? That this past has to be purified. So that's what they're talking about. They're emotionally reactive because they're in child, right? Their traumatized child has taken over. And it's not about judging. It's just about we have to develop and we have to grow up emotionally. There's wisdom there, and the wisdom is in the feelings. That's the feeling tone. That's when you're in the present moment. You're not in the past. When you're emotionally reacting to anything, 10 times out of 10, you're in your past. You're in the past. That's how it works. But if you have a feeling, this doesn't feel right, and you've done your inner work, you can trust that. You can trust your instincts, right? So is this bargain in your life, your work, wherever you work, right? You could be working with clients even. Is this working for me? Is this exchange fair for me? Do I feel fulfilled? And there's Saturn conjunct the moon. So that's giving us more information. So is Saturn outside authority? That would be little g in those institutions. Are they taking responsibility? Are they fulfilling their part of the bargain, giving you the resources that you need, right? Oh, they're not? Well, the bargain ends. I'm not part of this exchange anymore. So this is what I see people are going to start waking up to. And this is the social uprisings. Like, this doesn't work for us anymore, the people, right? You are not fulfilling your end of the bargain. Okay, so it's in the 55. Saturn's in the 55, right? And that's the shadow of victim. It's the shadow of victim. And it's also it's the gate of abundance. This is in 55 is huge. That's going through a huge mutation too, this 55, through the solar plexus mutation. This is the abundance, right? So definitely has, and this is the abundance of spirit. The true prosperity and abundance comes from this 55. And Saturn's in that position, right? So people aren't going to be able to stuff their stuff down anymore. And just like, this is just the way the world works. And we just have to work, and we have, because those emotions are coming up, right? To be purified is change or die right now. That's the lesson here, right? So the other thing to note too is with the 40, it's line 2. So it's resoluteness. It's called resolve. That's the gift of the 40, right? It's 40.2. So this is the gate of aloneness too. So taking that time to be alone with your own self. And it's like, this is my energy. This is my time, my life force energy, my presence, my life. And how do I want to spend it? Am I going to spend it at a job that doesn't really appreciate me? That's the 37, doesn't really appreciate me or value me for for my exchange. I'm giving so much, right? To go alone and to really look at it in clarity and not fall for this, right? Not fall for that. Go for the divinity and trusting that God, we're transferring from little g, given all our power, from little g to big G, to where it belongs, where it truly belongs. And that's the key out, right? Is to connect with your divinity, which is connecting to your authenticity. And that's how you will move through this time that we're in, right? As we come closer and closer to 2027. Okay. And also with the 40 as well, it's about learning boundaries, right? The 40 has to do with boundaries, right? So who has access to my energy? Who doesn't have access to my energy? MGs and generators, you have to learn this lesson, right? So the full moon's going to bring this lesson. You have the right to say, no, you do not have access to my energy, right? You've got all the life force energy, right? So learning boundaries. And then the 55 too is about who feels good in my life. Remember, feeling tone. Who feels good in my life and who doesn't make me feel good in my life, and to trust that. Who brings optimism, right? Who fills my cup, right? Who fills my cup? You're walking away from the people that don't fill your cup. They've been emptying your cup and not giving anything back, right? That exchange has been out of balance. So that's more lessons with the full moon. And then just a quick note too about the south node, north node. So 32 is the gate of continuity. And what's the continuity? Continuity of the Maya, continuity of the illusion. The 5432 is all about ambition and striving, chasing this, right? Chasing that, chasing the dollar, trying to get at the top of the heap. We're letting that go, 32, right? And it's the fear of failure. So dealing with the fear of failure Where am I going to break with this continuity? The continuity could even be from your ancestral line. I'm breaking with this continuity of my parents and my grandparents, my great-grandparents doing everything for survival and compromising themselves in their spiritual journey, right? So letting that go, and then the gate of growth, the 42. So this is all about where I'm headed, right? Where I'm headed. Where am I going to spend my resources? And your resources are not just money and material. It's my time and my energy. How am I going to move forward with the 42? So I see a lot of discernment going on here for us, right? Discerning who is filling my cup and who isn't, and to trust it. So this is about getting aligned with your right community, with the right people around you, right? The right people around you. So it takes some value, right? It takes self-love. And remember, when you love yourself, you automatically respect yourself. You automatically value yourself. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say here. Just want to look if there's any comments here. Okay. Okay, just people putting their Astro stuff down. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention too, because Mercury is in the 47 for quite a while, it's retrograde. This is the shadow of oppression. This is about karma and ancestry. So I just want to put it out that I'm feeling intuitively to have like a webinar series on ancestral healing, and it will correlate to the chart, your human design chart and your astrology chart. So if there's an interest for that, then I'll go forward. But if not, I'm doing the work on my own individually and having some great success, because we have to remember that junk DNA. The 90% the scientists say is all junk DNA. It's not junk DNA. It's our ancestral storage. It's all those memories that are stored that's starting to get activated, right? So our ancestors do not disappear. They're within us. They're within us in our form, in our actual physical form, in our unconscious mind. So there's certain dynamics that are handed down, right, from your ancestral line, and then it reaches you. And right, and if you're on this path of the Phoenix, really committed to do this work and be liberated in this lifetime, well, this is handed to you. The baton is handed to you here. You need to transmute this. So even I would suggest that you just even meditate on, oh, what's the pattern this goes from my great-grandparents that I know about, my grandparents. There's a theme. There's a theme, and the theme can be identified right in your chart. And that's really exciting to me, and the human design chart in particular. Okay. I think that's all I want to say. And I've got my readings too. So authentic self, the chart shows you your authentic self. And it never changes, so the reading will always be applicable. So keep that in mind. And it's just about being yourself, trusting yourself, and loving yourself during this time, and not get tricked. This is letting go of our conditioning of codependency, that 19, right? We're letting that go. We're transmuting that. Okay. Okay. So, have a great day, everybody, and I look forward to reading your comments, and like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, Satnam Aloha, everyone. Bye-bye.